How's it going, YouTube? Today, I want to do a little public service announcement. Me and my wife, we do some things a little more traditional, and one of those things is I tend to be the guy who does the maintenance on the cars. If you're the guy, gal, or whatever that tends to be the one taking care of cars, it's important that every now and then you get in your partner's vehicle and drive it yourself, because sometimes they might not notice something, or they might forget to tell you something, and then it's just a good idea to, have in your head where their vehicle's at. And with that being said, I would like to just point out that we got this oil change done when we had some major service taken care of on the Escalade, and the sticker says 196,000 miles. So I got into the vehicle and I noticed that the miles are going to be a little bit past 196,000. Now, granted, we use synthetic oil in all of our vehicles and there's a little leeway there, but 500 miles is still 500 miles, and we're going to take care of that today. So we'll walk you through the oil change and all that, but really it's simple stuff, and I don't think that there necessarily needs to be a how-to video on an oil change. But this is a public service announcement that if you take care of your partner's vehicles, it's a good idea to keep an eye on them. Alright, so we're underneath the wife's vehicle, and first step in an oil change is going to be draining the old oil, popping the old filter off. Drain it first and then do the filter. Now this is going to be our plug on the oil pan, and you'll want to let the car cool down for a little bit if you've been driving, because this shit's going to be hot and it has potential to make a really big mess. So you're going to take it off nice and slow, get your drain set up ahead of time, and everything should go smooth. Once the oil's out, we'll pop the filter off, get that last little bit out, and we'll go from there. In this particular vehicle, it is a 15 millimeter bolt that is going to be your plug. And again, be real slow and easy with this. Try to get it to drip slow first. Then as it equals out, you can start to hand loosen the nut the rest of the way. That way you won't drop it in your oil, and you'll be able to control the stream from missing your oil catch filter thing, whatever you want to call it. Now, like I said, there's a lot of potential for mess here, so take it nice and slow, get it dripping out, and you can make sure you're lined up underneath so you're not going to spill anything. And it's only going to get more difficult as you take this plug out, so beware. And just like I said, I got overexcited taking that plug out and made a big fucking mess. So, lesson number 2 here is gonna be use kitty litter on oil spills. It helps absorb it, dump it on top of the spill once you're able to, and sweep it up. Alright, so before we go back underneath here, something to point out as far as prep work goes is you're going to want to add a little bit of oil to the new filter, as well as put some oil around on the gasket on the new filter. That way it just helps it create a little bit better seal when you put it back on. Alright, as you can see here, we've got the plug is back in and our filter is back on nice and tight. You don't want to get too much so it's stuck on there, but you also don't want to leave it loose, otherwise you're going to get a leak up in here, and that's not good either. Just aggressively hand tighten this. I use a towel so I can grab onto it and really kind of get a good grip. And then that way I can also use that towel to wipe up any of the drips that may have happened. Now we'll go back topside, fill this baby up. You're going to want to find your oil cap. That's going to be right here. Here's our dipstick. We'll fill this up with the appropriate amount of oil. Let it sit for a few minutes since oil's thick and it needs to settle. And then we will check it to make sure all is good. We'll look underneath again, check for drips. Now, every time I do my oil, I tend to forget how much goes in my particular vehicle. my answer to that today, which I've seen done on cars with a paint markers, you'll write it on this shroud or whatever the equivalent is, what you need as far as how many quarts. So today I took a little piece of masking tape and a Sharpie, and I'm putting that right here. So next time, I just know I don't have to look it up. And this might be overkill for some people, but for me, I'm doing myself a favor and saving myself, 2 minutes going on Google. So you've got everything put back together. The car's down on the ground on a level surface, or as level as you can get it. It's time to check your oil. So you're going to take your dipstick, get a rag, pull the dipstick out, wipe it clean so it's dry, stick it right back in, pull her out, and take a look at these dots. It's hard to see on the camera because the oil's clean, but you can tell where it's wet up to here. That means we are full on oil. If it's low, it's going to be down in this range, and you're going to need to add some. So a good thing to watch out for. You should regularly check your oil. You'll also notice as time goes on, it's going to get darker in color because it's dirtier. And if it gets too dark, it's time to change your oil. Make sure you go by mileage on whatever you feel comfortable with via recommendation of mechanics and the oil product itself. I know AMSOIL has some higher mileage stuff. There's different viewpoints. Do some research, figure out what you are comfortable with doing, and go from there. And my piece of advice is do not go by the sensor that tells you when to change your oil on the dash. That is probably designed and works fine. However, why wait until the last minute? Just go by miles, get it done. That way you're never running bad shit. And overall, your engine will thank you.